So, I'm gonna go ahead and start with a 600, I think. So if you're around 600, I'll be taking your challenge. So we're playing against Anya right now. So we're gonna start with D4, and we're gonna see what Anya does, and we're gonna be talking about what they're doing right or wrong in this game, basically. So Knight F6, great move. Let's see what they go for. I'm gonna be going C4. They're going G6. Maybe they're gonna go for a King's Indian here. Nice. Is this blitz or rapid rating? It's rapid rating. So we're going to be going E4. Nice. I'm just taking as much center as possible. I'm just going to be playing some normal moves. Just getting my pieces out. I'm going to be going with my knight out. I'm going to be going bishop G5. Bishop G5. The idea of H3 is, that this one can't go here. They're playing this really, really well right now. I mean, they're playing all the theory. Now knight C6. This is actually like a pretty common move as well, even though it looks a little bit strange because it can get pushed. But, it's okay. We're going to push it, though. So yeah, now everybody, now we can see something that I think that is like quite a common mistake. Now, Anya is going right now knight b4, and this is actually quite a big mistake. Typically what you want to do is that you want to bring your knight to the center. When you go knight b4, I mean, the idea of Anya is probably to go knight a6, knight c5, but we're going to see that after I go a6, knight a6, I mean, that's the only move to save the knight. Then I'm going to be able to go b4. And now this knight is not going to be able to go anywhere. So that is actually a mistake to go there, which is pretty awesome. Now she's going c5. I think that the first thing you need to know is that if you're a 600, you don't always need to take en passant if you have the opportunity of taking en passant. I know this is a thing. I realized that. I kind of feel like the teacher who like they tell you that that's a thing. You don't need to take en passant here. It is not a forcing move. You can choose what the best move for you is. I could take here. I could definitely take here, and that would, create some weaknesses. I could also push. I think that what I'm going to do is that I'm going to be taking, though, not because I have to, but because I want to take here, because after I take here, I just feel like at any point I'm going to be able to move b5. I'm going to be able to do lots of things, even going c5. I feel like that kind of opens up a little bit, and I want to create a queen side majority. I want to have 3 pawns versus 2 because that's going to give me an advantage in all endgame. So I'm going to go bishop e2 just because I want a castle. Nice. Nice. En passant is forced. Alpine. En passant is not forced. How's your chess going, Alpine? So, okay, so the bishop is going to e6, which, makes sense, putting some pressure over here. I feel like this person is playing really well so far. What we're going to do now is that we're going to take advantage of the fact that this bishop is not defending this knight anymore, and we're going to go ahead and push. And now if pawn takes, we're going to be able to take this knight for free. That's a free knight. That is what it is. Now, if this knight moves, then we're going to be taking this one, and then, it's going to be a pretty weak pawn. But our dear opponent is unfortunately not realizing that the knight is hanging, so we are going to be able to take it. And there we go. Bishop g4 was played here, and typically you don't want to go for 2 moves in a row. You don't want to go bishop e6, bishop g4. Like, you actually just want to be able to move the bishop in one move, because otherwise you're losing a tempo. You're losing, one time, one move. That's what you're losing. You're losing a move by going somewhere, that you could have gone immediately, but doing it in 2 moves. So we're going to be actually just going back. This bishop on a6 is a little bit no, actually it's not vulnerable. I'm kidding. We're not going to go back. What we're going to do is that we're going to be more aggressive. As you may or may not know, I like being aggressive when I play chess. So there are 2 ways we could be aggressive, either by going e5 and threatening this knight, or by taking here. But there's just that if we go here, then, this pawn is going to be pretty weak at some point. So I'm going to go ahead and just take this one, because we want to exchange as much as possible at this point. So yeah. Okay, now this pawn is pretty weak. Pretty weak pawn. The only thing we need to make sure of is that, this pawn cannot push way too much, which is why a move like bishop e3 might make a lot of sense. Another move that might make a lot of sense would be to take here and then take this one. But the thing is that after bishop takes, there's going to be bishop takes over here, not pawn takes. And that could lead to several different complications. So I think that we're just going to castle. If pawn pushes, then we're just going to go knight e2, and we're just going to be happy. We're a full piece up. So bishop takes, we're going to be taking with the queen, everybody. We don't want to take with the pawn, because if we take with the pawn, then we're going to be getting some double pawns over here. We don't want that. So we're going to be taking with the queen. That's what we're going to do. Now we can go knight e2, because if this pawn pushes, then we just take it. We just take it and say thank you next. Yeah, so now what is happening is that, you know, my opponent is not realizing that this pawn is hanging. We're going to take with the queen because we want to exchange. When we're a piece up, the more pieces you exchange, the less pieces your opponent has to attack and the more pieces you have to attack, okay? So you just want to take away all the chances of your opponent to give any sort of attack. You just want to be able to win. So that is what is happening. So we're just going to be getting our bishop down here. Let's see, the rook goes here. We're gonna be centralizing our rooks. I'm gonna be starting by taking the first rook over here. We're defending this bishop. Look at how beautiful this bishop is. Look at how beautiful everything is here. Look at that. This is just beauty in a box. So now we're gonna be going knight g3. I want to get my knight up over here. I also want to prevent e4 from being played. Could we take this knight right now? Yes, and that is good because we want to exchange pieces, but also bishop pairs are really strong, which is why I'm just waiting a tiny little bit before we do it. This could be the time, though, to go ahead and do it. I think it is. We're going to go ahead and take, because now after bishop takes, we're going to be able to get this knight up to e4, and this knight is going to be so beautiful. They're going rook d4, which I think is a good move because they want to double up the rooks, but what they need to realize is that I'm soon going to be getting a knight up and block the whole file, and then, you know, that's going to be epic. And the next thing you're going to realize is actually that we're going to be taking here with the check. So this is actually probably going to be pretty good for us. King g7 could be played, and then whenever I move my knight, then they could take here, but still, like, I want to exchange pieces, so that's going to be pretty awesome. So yeah, king g7, we need to think now where we go. Probably, no, knight there I just don't like. I mean, they're going to be taking this one. Probably what we want to do is that we want to exchange as much as possible, so maybe bishop c2 could be a plan. We'll see. We'll see what we can do. Maybe, I think we're just going to go ahead and go back. I think that's going to be our beautiful solution. Beautiful solution. We could also be a little bit tricky. I think that actually what I'm going to do is that I think that if rook takes, I'm going to go ahead and just go knight d6, and you guys are going to see why. So now, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and go knight d6, and the idea is this, that if rook takes and rook takes, then what is happening is that we are just going to be a piece up. We're going to have this whole file, and it's going to be great. If we would have taken here, then this pawn would have been able to take, so that would have been a pass pawn, which could have become a bit dangerous. And if rook takes a3, which might look like a great move, we have the awesome move knight f5 check with the tactic. After pawn takes, we'll be taking this rook, and we will be a rook up. So that is basically what that is. Nice, look at that, everybody. That is the idea. And now actually, instead of taking, they went king f8, and we had this checkmate. So that is what we have. To be honest, I think that they played well. I think that there were just like some things, like this is not easy to know, but the fact that they went like knight b4 instead of going like knight e5 and just trying to, you know, do stuff like that, just going to the center, that the fact that they kind of went here and got a pretty useless knight, I think was one mistake. I also think that you should be, before you do this type, maybe you can go here, but like bishop g4 is actually a great move in this position. So bishop g4 is really great because this bishop sucks and you just want to exchange it for the knight. So this could have been a great move to then go knight d7, stuff like that. But then I think it was just, you know, like the tactical misses, the fact that they missed that I was threatening the knight, the fact that they missed different things. So I think that was like, you know, the things that were missed. But I thought they played a good game. It was just a little bit of tactics and a little bit of in the opening going a little bit wrong. Rensos, you are up next. All right, let's see what happens here. We're going to go d4. Show us what you've got, Rensos. Show us what you've got. This is kind of like being in like a... No, I'm kidding. Instead of like, you know, America's Got Talent. Chess has got talent. Chess has got talent. And then, you know, you play like a game. And then like... Yeah, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Anyway, so d4, d5. We're going to be going c4. We're going to be going c4. And we're just kind of, you know, this is just the queen's gambit. So they're going knight c6. This is actually a theory. This is called a Chigorin. And the idea of knight c6 is that they're then threatening to take this pawn. And then, you know, to be threatening this one as well. So I typically just go knight f3 to defend everything, and I just go e3 just to, you know, put some extra defense over here and everything. So yeah, there we go. Anna, they recruited me to non d4. Oh no, Matthew, what have you done? Yeah, so after this check, we're just gonna be, you know, going through with the knight. I think that they're doing this really well. You know, bishop check like this, pretty good stuff. Getting your bishop out with the tempo is just awesome. So knight f6. What they're trying to do right now is they're trying to go knight e4 and just take advantage of this pin. We've talked about pins. Pins are awesome, and they know that pins are awesome. This is actually pretty good. Shouldn't you get your dark squared bishop out before playing e3? You don't have to, Adam. You don't have to get your dark squared bishop out, because especially after moves like bishop b4, like I'm gonna be going bishop d2, and many times like after a3 they're just gonna be taking here. And yeah, I mean, is this bishop gonna be amazing? No, but this is like really common to do that, to do this setup in different openings. So we're gonna go ahead and go bishop d2 before anything, and then we're gonna castle. We're just gonna let them see what happens. h6, it's a you know, decent move, but it's also a bit unnecessary. You don't have to go there right now. But yeah, now we're just gonna castle. This is gonna be awesome. If this bishop ever goes back, then we're probably gonna try to go e4 at some point. So hopefully we're gonna be able to do it. Those are the ideas that we have here right now. It's white. We wanna go e4, just kind of push and just kind of get as much center as possible. And black probably wants to go b6, bishop b7, get this bishop out. This bishop is a really bad bishop. Like, that bishop is worse than this bishop. So now I'm going to go a3. If the bishop goes back, I'm going to push b4, and I'm just going to try to get as much space as humanly possible. Yeah, and now you guys can see that they're taking here. And as I was saying before, after something like, you know, e4, this bishop is actually going to become a pretty good one. Knight e4 is played. This move makes sense. You're threatening this bishop and you're just centralizing your knight. But what I'm going to do is that I actually want to make this bishop a useful bishop. So I'm going to be taking this knight. And after pawn takes knight here, you guys are going to see that this pawn is going to be starting to get weak. So f5 will be one of the only moves to defend it. And then at some point, you might be able to go d5. And then we're just going to be opening up our bishop. And everybody that said that this bishop was a bad bishop are going to see how beautiful this bishop is going to become. That is that. How do you decide when to block check with knight and when with bishop after bishop b4? Look, I think that it's equally good to block with anything, but I would say if you want to, like, it's just style of play. There's nothing that, you know, I would say knight c3 or bishop d2 are equally good. Okay, so you don't need to think about it that way. To be honest, you don't really need to do it. So e5 is being played right now, and this is probably a mistake, because after you go e5, what is happening is that, one, you're not defending this pawn, and their idea is basically that after knight takes pawn, then they are just going to be taking this, and then, you know, I'm losing this piece. But I'm not going to be taking this one. I'm not going to allow for the rook to be able to get an open file here, or a semi-open file. I'm going to make sure that, you know, we threaten another piece at the same time as we're threatening this pawn. We're already threatening this pawn, so we just gotta thread one more piece for it to be mathematically impossible to defend both of these pieces. And that's kind of how I think about it, you know? If you attack two things, it's just not gonna be possible to defend both a lot of the time. So yeah. Do you ever push queenside pawns if he castles like that? So queenside pawns if he castles kingside, yes. Kingside pawns if they castle queenside, yes. Just never push the pawns in front of your king. That's the only thing. That is the only thing. So, okay, let's go ahead and do this. So, the knight goes there. We're going to go ahead and just take this pawn on e4. Beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. We're just going to be taking this one. Nice. Unless, exactly, Jack. Unless you're alpha zero, then you play h4. Let me see. Okay, so yeah, so we're taking this one. If bishop f5... then what they're doing, they're just attacking this one. So we can either go knight c5 or we can go ahead and go knight here. Once again, guys, I'm threatening two things at the same time. Threatening the bishop, threatening this pawn. Good stuff. You throw in two things at the same time. Impossible to defend both of them. I'm going to be taking this one now, and then I'm going to be bringing my queen up over here. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that. Let me see what you guys are saying. Why queen g4, not queen f3? So the reason why I'm going queen g4, not queen f3 is because after queen f3, there are like different things that my opponent could do, like knight h4, or, you know, like anything. I feel like with the queen on g4, I'm taking away some more squares for this knight. And also after queen f3, there might be some pushes like e4 or anything at some point. So that's why I'd rather do that. So now, for instance, we can see why it was important to go queen g4, because now after the queen went to d7, we have this pin over here. So this knight cannot move, because if the knight moves, then we take the queen. So we have e4 at this point. And after e4, we're actually just going to be winning a piece, because there's no way of moving this knight and defending this queen at the same time. So yeah. That is that. Does the stream have delay? It shouldn't have that much delay. No, I'm completely new to chess and have been playing. And have you just been playing people like, oh, I guys are the queen on their second move? I've been told there's no thing to do, but I can't seem to beat it. Any tips? So Carl, good to see you. I think that the best thing to do is just try to all the time attack the queen. Like, by developing your pieces. Like, if you just develop your pieces and you try to attack the queen, like for instance getting your knights out, attacking the queen, stuff like that, then you're just automatically gonna be like getting a better position. So you don't really want to like go crazy with your pawns attacking the queen, but what you want to do is like get your pieces out and try to hurt that queen as much as possible. So rook takes was played, and now we have an option to take here with the pawn or with the queen. Taking with the queen would be perfectly good because we're a piece up, and you know we want to exchange pieces then. But what I'm gonna do instead is that I'm gonna take him with the pawn because I have this idea of going bishop d2, bishop takes h6, and I have some checkmating ideas over here. So that is what I'm gonna do. That is what I'm gonna do. So yeah. Do you think the strategy is for I think that they're playing pretty well for the rating. I mean, apart from the fact that they missed this tactic, I think that they're playing well. So, now what we're going to do is that we're going to be bringing some rooks in. I could go bishop d2 and go for this, but something that I've seen a lot of people do is that they just go ahead and kind of try to go with their own plan and don't think about what their opponent's doing. This pawn is actually under threat right now, so we're going to be going rook d1, and we're going to be defending this pawn before we do anything else. Why not keep the pin going? Because the pin was not a pin anymore. After the rook went to d8, this queen is protected and this knight can now move. That is why e5 is hanging. That is why. So now we're just protecting everything. If pawn takes pawn, we're just going to take him with the rook probably. And now after I go e4, they're opening up for my bishop, which is something that you really don't want to, you know, allow for. This bishop is not going to be so strong, and now is the moment when you just gotta say thank you. Take this pawn. You guys can see there is this pin, so pawn takes is not possible because of this pin over here. And yeah, they're gonna have to probably move their king, but then I've won a pawn, and that is, you know, quite a big accomplishment. But I'm also threatening the rook right now, so I could also just take the rook if they move the king. So here we could actually go for a queen. Oh, here we could actually go for a checkmate one. Okay, yeah, king f7, we have queen takes g7 here. All right, and that's a checkmate. I think that they played really well for 700. Like, they missed some tactics, but I think that Renz has played really well. Like, okay, so what did they miss? So I think they made a few mistakes. I think that this move 94 is a mistake. Like, not a mistake for like a 700 rating, but it's actually probably a little bit of a mistake for me to allow to get this, you know, for me to allow to play against their pawn structure. This pawn structure is becoming really bad, and their center is becoming really weak as well. And I think that the first big mistake they did was e5, because I think they missed that after d5, then this pawn is going to be hanging. So I think it's kind of nice to think about that when you're threatening a piece and they don't defend it, but they create their own threat. Just defend the threat that they're creating on you, and then, you know, try to fulfill your threat, basically. So we're going to go d4. I'm going to keep on going with my d4. I know you guys want me to play e4. I know you want me to do it. Exactly. It's bad to be mean. It's as simple as that. Exactly. We're going to be going d4 again. I know you guys don't want me to go d4, but I want to be able to explain better what I do. So, you know, and that is why we're doing that. So, let's see. So, e6. All right. We got a little queen's gambit decline here. Beautiful queen's gambit declined. That is what we have. So, yep, d4. Yep, it is. Guys, okay, let me just go ahead and give you one argument about why d4 is just such a great opening. They created the Queen's Gambit, which became, you know, one of the biggest shows on Netflix, broke so many records, and they called it the Queen's Gambit. Did they call it the King's Gambit? Did they call it the e4? Did they call it anything else? No, they called it the Queen's Gambit for a reason, everybody. For a reason they called it that. So yes, cheese, I'll be uploading this on YouTube. Anyways, knight f6 is being played here. So what we're gonna be doing here is that I typically go for this Queen's Gambit like exchange line, which is that you take here in the center. And the idea of taking here in the center is basically just to not have to think about this pawn at any point being taken. No point. So that's basically the idea. Bad parts about taking here. Well, what happens if you oh wait, you guys know why I have back pain? Maybe because I sit in a bad way. Maybe this is how I should sit. I think I've been sitting in the wrong way, everybody. Oh, that is why I have back pain. Okay, So yeah, so pawn takes. If pawn takes, then we're gonna be getting our bishop out. The bad part about this is, you know, this bishop is gonna become a lot more active than what it becomes otherwise. But we are also going to be able to just not have to care about the c4 pawn anymore and just get all of our pieces out. So yeah. Shouldn't you push c5 instead of taking on d5? No, pushing on c5 is typically not a move you want to do, because if you push on c5, there's always going to be these e5 ideas for black where you're kind of countering the center, and if I take, then this one is hanging. So you typically never want to go c5 as white there. So yeah, so e3 is played now, so knight d7. Once again, I'm just getting my pieces out. You want to bring all your pieces to beautiful and active squares. This is why we go bishop d3 and not bishop e2, because bishop d3, boom, lots of squares you can go to that are also pointing towards where the king is probably going to be. What's the bishop on e2 doing? Not being able to go to any productive place. So now we're going to be getting this second knight out as well. Developing is so important. They're developing too. They're playing this well as well. But now they have the question of, you know, what are you going to do with this bishop? What are they going to do? What is going to happen? Thanks so much for a posture check. Doesn't check posture at all. There we go. There we go. Am I doing viewer coaching? Yes, that is what I'm doing. That is what I'm doing. I'm playing against viewers and I'm kind of saying, you know, what's going on in the game. So h6, you guys know that I love my bishops. My bishops are, I love them as much as I love coffee. I love my bishops a lot, okay? And if you don't like your chess pieces, just imagine that they were made out of chocolate and that you want to eat them up. So I love my bishops. I'm not exchanging them. Bishop pairs are better than knights, so you don't want to exchange. It would just be making the game easier for my opponent to do that. So yeah, let's see. Exactly, just send me a challenge. Obviously, I'm not taking every challenge. I'm taking one for every rating group. So it's just random if you get a challenge or not. So don't take it personally. If you don't get the challenge, I have lots of challenges going on right now, and I really appreciate that you guys send a challenge, but I cannot take every one. So the knight is going to b6 because this bishop wants to go somewhere. And if I know what this person is thinking, if I can, like, you know, think one step ahead, I would think that they want to go bishop g4. So knowing that they want to go bishop g4 and exchange this bad bishop for this good knight, I'm going to go ahead and go knight e5, stopping bishop g4, kind of asking, what are you going to do with this bishop? And if this bishop goes to e6, we're going to be doing something else to just kind of ask you, what are you doing? So now what I'm doing is that I'm saying my pieces are made of chocolate, your pieces are made of stone. I'm going to show you that my chocolate bishop is better than your chocolate bishop. Guys, I'm craving chocolate. I don't know if you guys are realizing that, but which are the rating groups? I'm taking one for everyone, so 800, 900,000. I'm really craving chocolate right now. I know I typically don't like chocolate, but yeah, I'm craving chocolate right now. So couldn't you also stop bishop g4 with h3? Yes, it could stop bishop g4 with h3, but my idea, if I go h3, then you're doing that. But my idea is that after bishop e6, I wanted to start pushing this pawn to attack this bishop. And that just wouldn't, you know, going knight here, I'm actually allowing for both ideas. So we've actually now made a move that is stopping everything that black wanted to do. And now black decided to go back. So this is actually like we're winning a little bit, because they literally went here to like do something. And then we did something and they had to go back. So that's actually like a little bit of a victory there. So yeah, and now I took with this f pawn because I wanted to, you know, take towards the center. That's typically a rule in chess. You want to take towards the center. And now what is going on is that they are going knight h7, and this is actually a pretty strange move. At this point, we have different options. We could either one like take here, or we could two go for something like bishop g3 or somewhere else. We could go for something like that. I don't really know what's best. I think that I'm going to be taking this one because, you know, like, I just want to be able to make a move. I want to go queen c2 pretty quickly because I'm just going to ask now, what are you going to do with this knight? If this knight goes here, well, I guess that's the only place you can go to be honest. But it's not like that amazing, you know? It's not that amazing. So let's go ahead and see. Does it have to be a 10-minute game? I'll probably be taking shorter games the more we go up. It's just that at this rating, I think that most people play like with this time control anyways. I think that's why it's the best. I'm going to be getting this rook. My plan is to go e4, but I first want to get all my rooks to the center of the board, or all my pieces to the center of the board. So before you go for crazy big plans, what you got to do is that you got to get all your pieces active. All your pieces got to do the work. I mean, what is a football pitch without 12 players? Guys, tell me that there are 12 players when you play a football team. I don't know how many players there are. How much is a team is a team without all of their players? You gotta have all of your players. It's 11, man. It's 11. It's 11. It's 11. Okay, it's 11. I'm kidding, guys. It's 11. So now that I have all my 11 players in the team, plus the coach or the referee, we can fulfill all of our dreams and promises of going e4, which is what we want to do to just break the center. So now bishop f5 was played, and now is the moment we're going to take a big decision. Is it worth it to sack, or is it not worth it to sack? And I would say that typically it's not worth it to sack, but like, no, I'm not going to sack. I'm going to go knight f6 check, because the idea that I want to have is just destroy the pawn structure. So I'll go knight f6 check, and then I'll just go ahead and take this one. That is what we're going to do. So this makes a lot more sense. We're going to go ahead and do that. Nice, 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 nice. You know, you cannot take this because it's protected. So that's what we're going to do. I kind of wanted to go rook takes bishop to open up the g file and get a rook in, but I realized that there wasn't anything. So yeah. So the king goes to g7. Now we're going to be taking this one. We're going to be taking with the queen. And we have lots of different nasty things going on here. Now is the moment when we just say, you know what? It's time to win this game. You know, we've been sitting around here for a while. Now it's time to win. So we're going to start going with some checks. That's the first thing we want to do. Probably king here is going to be played. I don't really want to exchange queens. Even though probably wouldn't be a bad thing. It's just that just don't really want to do it. Yeah. Just don't really want to do it, you know? I also kind of, the thing is that I want to get a rook up. I think that I'm going to go queen d3 and then just get a rook up over here. Rook or knight up. We'll see exactly what I get. But I think that's what we're going to do. Does Anna eat pure caffeine for breakfast? No, potato. I drink coffee and I'm drinking a coffee right now. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. So we're going to be getting our rook up over here. That is what's going to happen. So this one is going there and that move makes sense. And they're doing good. Like they are exchanging when they should be trying to exchange. So they're actually playing this very well. I'm going to go queen d1 because I still want to throw in rook f6. I think that rook f6 is a huge threat. So that is what I want to do. I want to be allowed to do this. So we're going to see if we can. They're actually playing this really well. Just like really stopping everything that I want to do. Yeah, I think it's time for us to just go there anyways and just try to get our rook up. So, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Let's see. Let's see what they allow for, what I'm able to do. We're going to be getting our rook up over here. What's my favorite coffee? Cappuccino, please. Coffee with lots of milk is what Anna drinks. So, yeah, so we're going up here. Let's go ahead and see what they do. I think that, you know, X Switcher is playing very well here. Okay, we're going to go and work here because I just want to get my rook up. Yeah, we're just gonna try to get our rook up over here. That's what we're gonna do. I know. Okay, now we're getting our queen up. Once again, guys, I'm telling you, you want to bring your 11 players to the party, but at some point, you know, you are at the point when you just are plus 10. Like, you just have so much, like, you're just winning by so much. You can even bring, like, your own goalie to the game, and you can just go ahead and get, you know, get him into a game as well. And now we're bringing our goalie. We're bringing every single piece that we have. This rook, this queen. We're bringing everything. We're going to be going rook g3 just to pin this. And if the king goes back, then we're just going to go ahead and go for this check. So now we can just go ahead and go rook here. They cannot take this queen because then, you know, this is pin. Thank you so much, Hawaiians. Thank you for subscribing 3 months. Learning chess from Cramling. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's what we're Cramlings are here for. So, after school you're gonna go full time. This is already after school. I've already finished school. So yeah, we're going for bishop. We're gonna be taking here back. So we already just won a queen here, which is really awesome. And let's see, now we're just gonna try to go for some checkmate ideas. So you guys can see, I mean, I think that what you should be bringing from this is just how important it is to bring all your pieces to the play. Like, you need to get all your pieces in, because you know what happens? Everybody's counting pieces, being like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, my rook is over there, but I have my rook, so you know I'm not a rook down. But here's the thing, everybody. If your rook is down there not doing anything, it's like you're a rook down, and you don't want to be a rook down. You want to have all your pieces doing everything. It's the exact same thing pretty much to be a rook down and having a rook that is locked in and can't do anything. So that is that. So we're gonna be going rook here, trying to go for some checkmates. Nice. Just learn checkmate equals goal. Well, that is exactly what it should equal. Now, everybody, we're going to be going for some checkmate ideas. We want to go there, and then if rook here, then we have some more checkmates as well. We have checkmates everywhere. checkmates everywhere. That is what we have. So queen f7 is the big threat right now, and is what we're gonna try to go for. Will we have queen f7 or will we not? I did have actually queen f7 before, but I think this is gonna be good anyways. But you guys are absolutely right. Anyways, queen here, king there, and then we have queen checkmate here. There we go. There we go. There we go. And now we have this checkmate. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. GG. GG, X-Witcher. Thanks a lot for the game. I think you played well. I mean, you defended, like, really well at this whole part to all my threats. I thought that was good. But yeah, I mean, I think that it was basically, like, this whole knight maneuver with G6 and everything. I think that just gave me, like, a lot of play, especially when I was allowed to go knight F6. This was really good. So, I think that, once again, there was just some... You know, the fact of putting your bishop up over here, maybe going back and forth, you probably should have gone bishop e6 at some point. I think the issue became, you know, where to put this bishop. And I think that, you know, this maybe was the wrong place because of this. So, yeah, anyways.